midnight we wrap it all up.
Destruction plus multiple destruction. Coming up Saturday, April 19th at the Gallery Bar, 8 p.m. till 10 p.m. is Rescue or Destroy. I'm gonna have one of my pieces up, maybe a couple more, but one big main one that you can come through and try to help rescue or destroy it. If you don't like it, maybe you get to destroy it. See Alan hit it with a big ass sledgehammer or burn it or something. Who knows what's gonna happen. And I'll also be performing. I'm going up against the homie Werm winner, so it should be a good night. Come out April 19th at the Gallery Bar. Do it.
Nice. Your first experience with Rescue or
The
Destroy?
first time was at Joe Brothers when you were up in the studio and you were doing an online one.
Yeah.
And I saw, so I didn't even know what the hell you were doing. I just walk in and I see you hold this piece and you're talking to the computer, to the laptop, and there's like, 5 or 6 people up on screens and you're like, 20 minutes or I'm destroying this, and everyone's like, all right, hold on. And I think you ended up saving that one.
Yeah,
I think somebody bought that one, and then I ended up seeing you destroy another one.
Yeah, destroyed 2 that night and sold 4. So
yeah.
Or rescued 4.
Yeah. No, it's a cool concept, and everyone that I've told that about me being in it, they're all like, "Wow, that's a crazy concept." They're like, "That's kind of cool," because it's just a different way to bring people out and get people to interact and think about buying something.
Yeah.
Where a lot of times they just go and they bring money just to party with or whatever. They're not necessarily thinking of, oh yeah, I'm actually going to buy the art. But then when you kind of give them that ultimatum, like, hey man, I'm going to destroy this unless you buy it. They're like, oh wait, hold on, I got something. April 19th, Saturday. At Gallery Bar, I'm participating in Alan Vandever's Rescue or Destroy. So come on out and help my piece get rescued or help it get destroyed. Could be kind of cool to see my stuff just get broken into pieces. I started as a kid in the 80s just tagging my name, but I was a toy for a long time and I got more into DJing and MCing, and then through the hip hop world, I connected with Zora and Rafa and G-Tech and Raven, SB Crew, and they're the ones that really taught me how to can control and uses of color and really how to flex what I used to do on paper onto the wall. And since then it's just been progressing my style, and especially nowadays with all the different paint that's out there that's available, and the consistency of it is way better, so you can do a lot more effects and color blends and colors on top of colors. Back in the day you used to have to know which colors could go over which colors. Now pretty much anything will go over anything. You can have, back in the day you can even do certain colors over black, but now you can do a light yellow over black because they're so thick and made for graffiti art. So yeah,
very cool.
What I've been doing has been more than I expected would come of it, as far as being able to travel because of it.
When you talk about that, the travel.
Yeah,
too.
and I think man, if that alone right there has been worth what organizers for Meeting of Styles Chicago. So I've been getting brought out to the Meeting of Styles in Europe, where it originated in Germany. So I've been going to the one in Germany, I've been to the one in France, I went to one in Serbia, and then I've also participated in some art events in Malta. I even painted a backdrop for this African refugee center hip hop concert they were doing. That was pretty cool. It's like 2,000 refugees. They live in this little ass spot,
Yeah.
And so that was cool. Spain, went out to Spain, Ireland, England. So, and then of course Cali and
Travel the world for what you love. Man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When I got into the hip hop scene right out of high school, the open mics and stuff, was through being an MC. And then I ran into a high school friend of mine, G-Tech, who was in SB, at one of these open mics, and he introduced me to Zor and Rafa and Raven and all these guys, and that kind of brought me back into the graffiti world. And they were just, and I'd always, and I had a car at the time, a big old beater, and I would go, and Zor and Rafa had a hip hop shop not too far from here over North Avenue in Central Park, so I used to go hang with them, and I'd be like, man, I got a car, if you guys want to go paint, let's go, I'll take you all around. They were like, so I started going with them, and then I just started jumping out of the car and bombing, and they were like, what the hell are you doing? And I'm like, I want to bomb too. And they were like, wow, an MC that wants to paint? They're like, okay, we're going to teach you how to paint. There's been periods where I'll go more into graffiti and then more into rap, and then there's been periods where I do both at the same time. I think now I just got to figure out how to do it on stage while I'm rapping.
While you're rapping. The sound of the spray paint is part of the
Yeah, exactly, so dope,
Yeah, hook up a mic spray can.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Shake it.
Right. Make beats. Same thing. But back in the day, they used to do this thing called Paint Louis, and it was in St. Louis. And I think we went like 98 and 99, and that was the whole crew SB. And these walls were huge. I mean, they were pretty much the height of this wall, but it was the Mississippi retaining wall, and it went for miles. I mean, it took us about 20 minutes just to drive to where our spot was. And then our section was like probably from the corner to like the fourth panel, the whole thing, you know. And we did 2 huge burners 2 years in a row like that. And it was dope because back then we used to do, you know, we used to really do like more like messages in our pieces. We wouldn't really do like our names like how we do now. We think of concepts and have sayings like, you know, ex-slaves bombing everywhere, or evolve solutions, become evolution. You know, just different phrases that kind of went off of our crew name or whatever other, you know, ideas we had. So those 2 definitely, because it was like the whole crew together, road trip, huge production. You know, one we did like ancient temples and stuff, and the other one we did like a whole cityscape. There is an embracement, although I think it's more, they're embracing an aspect of it. You know, I still think that like wild style graffiti is still not respected, you know, but street art is respected more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or guys that do graffiti, they kind of, they have to change their stuff up a little bit. Like, you're not, you know, and that's not to say there hasn't been wild styles in galleries and such, you know, and museums, but it still seems the wild style stuff is kind of not taboo, but something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's still kind of considered street, and it's still associated with the legality of it.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I mean, there's definitely more ways to earn income from doing graffiti or street art. There's definitely more opportunity. You know, something like Meeting of Styles exists. Yeah. You know, and that was started by grassroots guys, and they, you know, it basically just spawned out of itself because all these writers that came to Germany were like, well, we want to do it in our city. Yeah. And they're like, cool, do it. Yeah. You know, and then Zora was out there, and they were like, we want to do more in the States. And he's like, let's do it in Chicago, you know. And now this will be our 11th year coming up in September. Yeah. You know, so I think just the fact that there's that worldwide movement, it's way back in the day, and we went out and we were hitting a bunch of train tunnels, and it was weird because the whole night I felt paranoid, like I just had this weird feeling. And when we were leaving out of the tunnels, like I just kept feeling like there was somebody watching us, you know. So we finished up and we're leaving out, and we're walking up the platform, and there were like cops right there. We're like, oh shit, you know. So we just keep walking, and they don't do anything. I'm like, all right. But I think, thinking back, I was like, we should have just went home. But we got so cocky, and we're like, let's keep going. So my friend was like, I got this spot up in Lincoln Park. I think it's an abandoned building, and it's right on the train line. So I'm like, all right, cool. So we go over there. We're painting the back of it. You know, at the time we thought that this place was abandoned because it looked like nobody lived there. So I'm like, and I'm painting on the side of this wall, and there's the gangway so I can see the street side, and the train tracks are right here. So I'm painting, and I see like somebody kind of duck their head, you know, like look, and I'm like, oh man, you know. So I called on my homie, like, hey man, I think there's somebody here. And I look, and it's 2 narcs, and I was like, oh shit, yo, cops. So I just run through, and I jump over the fence, and I see my friend just like run the other way. So I think the cop saw me run this way, and they went this way because somehow my friend went out the front and managed to run away on the front, and I went the other side. And when I got into the other yard's gangway, and I looked, and I saw the cops running down the street, and I was like, oh damn. So I couldn't go out that way, and it was wintertime, and it was kind of snowing, and so there was like, you know how on the gangways, some of the basement apartments, they had that couple little steps that go down. So there's like a little ditch. Yeah. So I ran down there, and I just kind of like hid up against the stairs, as like pressed up as much as I could, and the whole time I'm hearing the cops' conversation out front. Yeah, there's this guy, blah blah blah. And so I guess what happened was there was an old lady that actually lived in that building that was abandoned, and she called the cops. So I hear the cops out there, they're looking for us, and I hear people like in the building that I'm hiding in, and they're talking to the cops like, we heard somebody in our backyard too, and da da da. I'm like, oh man. So all of a sudden, it feels like they sound like they're starting to leave.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm looking up here, and they're saying, and I'm like, all right, I think I'm good. All of a sudden, another squad car pulls up. Right. Or actually, it was a paddy wagon. And I hear these new cops get out. Right. What happened was the people that I was hiding in, they called the cops too. Like, there's somebody in our gangway.
Oh, shit.
So now these new cops come. They walk right into the gangways, and next thing you know, I just feel a foot on my head. Like, stay down. You know, and like, get up. So I get up, and the whole time I'm thinking, all right, well, at least, you know, my homie got away and everything's cool, you know. I'll just deal with this. I just played it off like, no, I didn't do anything. Like, you know, I don't even have any pain. I fought with my girlfriend, and she kicked me out, and I didn't have anywhere to go. Like, you know, made up some story or whatever. And they were like, yeah, right. It was funny because I remember I had gloves on. If they would have just took my gloves out, they would have saw the paint. But instead of that, he looked at the glove and he said, there's an indentation on your glove from the spray cap. And I was like, and I couldn't argue with him because I was like, oh, he's just going to pull my glove off. And I was like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. So they put me in the back of the patio wagon. I get in the back of the patio wagon and I see my friend sitting in there.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, dude, whatever. I saw you run. I thought you got away. He's like, man, I made it like 6 blocks, right? Like away from the scene. They weren't even chasing him. They followed his footprints in the snow. Yeah, so... Dun dun. We both got caught.
He's out there, man, strung out. Just like there was one stop we went by. I was thinking when I was getting here. There's like 6 or 7 people just drugged out.
Shit.
Just like it was like zombies. It's like I totally understand from a couple experiences of being in spots why the zombie movies get their inspiration because there's these people strung out on drugs. And they look like zombies, man.
Yeah.
They're just like
Totally.
You're leaned over just. Slowly go, and it's like,
I remember that we were I had some friends in from out of town. We were in Lower Wacker, and like, my homies was copping a tag, and like probably like from where those girls are down there, we see this dude, like a homeless dude, you know, and he starts like, and he looked like a zombie dude. He started running like towards us, like swinging his arms and stuff, and I was like. The car like drove off. He like stopped, and I was like, well, "What was going on there?" This piece I did for we did a big Halloween wall that was for it was kind of like a nightmare. It was A Nightmare Before Christmas, the Tim Robbins movie.
yeah.
So that was the concept, and so I did these little jack-o'-lanterns. So I did the orange colors, and I got the full moon up there, and this was kind of a slight departure from my typical style, because usually I do the line work like this, but then I make it all 3D so it looks like folding paper, kind of like how it looks here. That's more how typically my whole piece would look. But on this one, I was trying to make it a combination of that and classic bit lettering type style. So I have like the arrows coming off here, like an old school arrow, and then just like bits, chunks and bits that don't connect, but then connect inward here, but then also the folding lettering too.
Nice.
And it says Demon.
Yes.
The wide angle shot. The background and everything. It's a little bit faded because it's from last year, but all my internet links are under DMN Ology, which is Demonology. And that's Facebook, Flickr, Instagram, YouTube, Bandcamp for my music, SoundCloud for my music. So yeah, it's DMN Ology. Just Google it and you'll find all my stuff. April 19th at Gallery Bar. Come through 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. midnight, day after. Try to rescue or destroy my art. Me and Werm Wanner, come check us out. April 19th, Gallery Bar. Demonology. What up?
Cool. All right. All right. Say Rescue Destroy, April 19th, Gallery Bar.
So, April 19th in Gallery Bar.
Rescue or Destroy.
Rescue or Destroy, April 19th, Gallery Bar.